huge game then. Both those sides, sadly for them, in the relegation fight. Palace are 12th, but they're only 3 points clear of the bottom three. And Leicester, Cass, as you were just remarking, 17th.
Yeah.
They have plummeted down
they're
table.
run. I mean, you played against them, didn't you, Nat? Just recently in the 1-1 draw.
That actually ended, what was it, I think it was their first point in 5 games, something like that. They'd been on a bit of a slide in that before they earned that draw at Brentford. But yeah, it's an interesting one. Very quickly, because it'd be nice to talk a little bit more about Leicester. A lot has been said about Palace in the last few weeks because of what's happened with Vieira and now Roy Hodgson coming in. And clearly Hodgson is back in to steady the ship, try and pull themselves clear of this fight that they find themselves in. They're winless in 13, Kath. They haven't won in 2023. And yet, remarkably, they're still in 12th. It's quite mad, really, that they're still in that position. But this is their longest winless run since 1980-81, where they went on a 16-game winless run. And unfortunately for them, that ended in relegation from the top flight. Funnily enough, their 14th game in that run was against Leicester.
Oh, coincidence.
The quirk of it all. And then we heard there, Wilfred Zaha says, losing games ultimately does kind of mean you lose confidence, and that's why they've not been able to score as many goals.
Yeah, would you say the manager can lose confidence as well in his team? Because they play... I mean,
Well, we saw it with Conte.
Yeah. A manager needs to breed confidence, and that is, even if you're not winning games, you're doing the right things and you're being brave in your approach to try and get goals. Palace weren't that. Palace were very hard on the eye in recent games, and you're thinking you're not even creating. It's not like the goalkeepers had a worldie, pulled off saves, you've hit the woodwork and you post bar. This wasn't happening.
No.
The goalkeepers weren't even making a save. So your system, obviously, you could be critical of, well, we're not creating enough by the way we're playing, the formation that we've put out.
Yeah, so that led to the change, obviously, and Vieira has gone and Hodgson is in, which has raised a few eyebrows. No change at Leicester, though, Cass. One of the few sides in this relegation fight that haven't made a managerial change, but it's just a point that separates them from the drop zone, and they have played a game more than West Ham, who are the team just below them. They're the only side without a clean sheet since the resumption of the Premier League after the World Cup. They've conceded 22 goals in their 12 games. It's been a bit of a problem for them defensively. Yeah,
well, obviously new signing, Suter being out injured, I think, is a doubt today whether he'll be available. Johnny Evans has been injured all season, it feels like. It's a strange predicament that Leicester has got themselves into, because if you would have said to me at the start of the season, Jamie Vardy would have 1 Premier League goal until now, you would never have imagined that. You'd have thought, well, even an indifferent season, he might have 6, 7, 8. He's got 1. And he's been discarded. He's just been used as a bit part player this season. As the seasons wore on, he's played less and less. Daka has come in here, Nacho's come in, both of them done okay. But there feels like there's been a bit of a sea change at Leicester. Their investment in the summer was very low. When Schmeichel went to Nice and out the club, that was all low key again. It feels like it's a perfect example, if you don't invest in your team and your squad, how it can backfire on you, because they're hanging on to Maddison, who's clearly been their best player this season. Ndidi's been a strange one. I've always thought he's been terrific for Leicester. He's had an indifferent season. Tillemans' contract is up. There's a lot of scenarios that have put Leicester in a free falls type of scenario. They're hanging. I remember we had a conversation, 6 weeks ago, and you said you were surprised. I said, well, Leicester, they actually went on a good run when I said it. Yeah. And now they've fallen back into the habits of where they are now. And it does feel they're heavily reliant on James Maddison, which I know is an obvious thing to say, but it does feel like that as well. They do. Well, Harvey Barnes has chipped in with a number of goals
that's true.
as well.
He scored that equaliser at Brentford, so he's worthy of a mention.